The Horseshoe Amateur Boxing Club fight night has come to an end, and former champion of the ring Nicky Piper was here to see it all unfold this evening, and he joins me now on Your Sport Swindon. Well, Nicky, thanks for joining me. So yeah, you're at the Horseshoe Boxing Club fight night tonight.
Yeah.
Why exactly are we here?
Well, I was asked to be. I came last year. Funnily enough, it was a great show last year, but they had a microphone system that didn't work, and half the hall couldn't hear me speaking, so they said, come back, because the other half want to hear you speak. So I came back and worked with Alan Minter, which was a pleasure, because Alan was one of my heroes when I was a child. You know, I mean, I grew up watching him and the likes of Jim Watt and Tony Simpson, all those guys, Morris Hope, they were just idols of mine. So pleasure to work with Alan tonight.
Well, yeah, so what was that like? During the interval you were on stage with him, what was it like?
He's quite a character, actually, you know, Alan. He's a real East End sort of Cockney geezer, you know, and typical boxer, you think of London, you think of Alan Minter, that sort of fighter. But what a great fighter, you know, really good boxer, Olympic medalist. In the days when Olympic medals were really hard to come by, you know, these days we're winning so many because of the funding we get in the sport. The amateurs these days are like professionals, you know, they train 3 times a day, 6 days a week. In those days we were really amateur, and he was such a special fighter, you know. So he took that boxing ability through to the pro ranks and his punching power, and you know, world champion. So great.
Definitely. So yeah, if we talk about what we've seen tonight here, what did you make of the standard of fighting?
The standard was really good, but not only was the standard good of the fighters, the matchmaking was very good. You know, so they put on a great show. Almost every one of the bouts was evenly matched and welcome. You know, competing in the box, both boxers competing very well. So. I thought, you know, well done to Brian for the matchmaking, and well done to the boys. There's some really good standard on tonight.
Certainly some good fights. What do you make of the Swindon standard of boxing as a whole?
It's very high, and of course it was great to see that the Horseshoe ABC had their first British champion in the last few months, you know, and that was a great thing to see. And I think the club is going to get stronger every year. You know, it's only 5 years old. So the boxers that started at the age of 10, 11 are now coming through to the senior ranks, and are starting to show real potential.
So how important do you think, from the amateur side of things, if you're a 10-year-old lad learning your trade, how important is it to start learning boxing from such a young age?
Well, I started when I was 7, and my brother started when he was 7. He was 5 years older, so from the age of 2 I was going to the gym watching my brother. It is an advantage, there's no doubt about that, but some of the greatest boxers we've ever had have started late, you know, at the age of 16, 17, and I'm an Anthony Joshua. It works as the heavyweights tend to start later, but Anthony Joshua started at 18 or 19. You know, so you don't have to start young, but it is an advantage.
So that leads us on now nicely with the talk of Anthony Joshua onto the pro scene in Swindon. We've got a few pro boxers now blossoming, the likes of Duke Watkins or those kind of people. What do you make of the scene there for Swindon?
Well, I think the Swindon boxing scene as a professional is very strong too, and that comes to the amateur game. You know, all professionals usually come from good amateur stock, and I think the strength we've seen tonight just shows that the professional game will go from strength to strength.
Another area of boxing that seems to be going from strength to strength is women's boxing, and of course here at Swindon we've got one of the big flag bearers in this form of Kelly Morgan. What do you make of women's boxing at the moment?
I must admit, I've not watched much women's boxing at the moment. I mean, but women's boxing is getting very, very strong, and you know, I've not seen Kelly box, but I've heard good things. Apparently, Katie Taylor lost for the first time in years today, so that was a big shock. And I think that just goes to show that the strength in depth across the world is getting better, and the competition is increasing greatly at all levels. So, but certainly. Ladies boxing and girls boxing is becoming much bigger now among the amateur boxing clubs.
Brilliant, Nicky. Thanks for your time. Hopefully see you next year with the working mic.
Pleasure.
Thank you.